we arrive here with this idea of peintre maudit, doomed painter, and what we see is something extremely amazing and very technique in a way, because he's obsessed. There's an idea of repetition. Was it something you wanted to show?
Yes, he's really in a period where he experiments many new ways, many new tracks, and in a very lively way. So he tries to innovate, to disentangled the realities in a very formal way, with those question of formats, new formats, squares, double squares, very new thoughts for him on the size, on the formats.
What did you want to show here, which is innovative?
Especially the double squares. We are reunited 11 of the 12 landscape double squares for the first time ever, and maybe for the last time. So it's really an exhibition within the exhibition, and it shows him in the utmost achievement, one of his biggest achievement ever, because when you see those masterworks such as the wheat field with the crows or the root trees, the tree roots, they are really belonging to the legend and the top.
But there's something very technique about the exhibition, because you treated it by series.
Exactly, and by the motive. Because really, the idea was to try to make the public feel how Van Gogh works, how his brain and sensibility works, coping with reality from the actual on the motif, to this very mental and epidemic way of handling with these brush strokes that are struggling against...
And have we learned something recently about Van Gogh, which is far from the myth, for example, or about his death?
Well, the biggest news within the preparation of this exhibition was the discovery of where his last painting, The Tree Roots, was made, and was actually the motif he tried to copy and rearrange, because nobody could properly understand what this painting actually represents, because it's some kind of abstract, but actually it's very precise, very realistic. It has this double reality, being both very intellectual and, let's say, abstract, non-figurative thing, and very close to the reality.
But in the same time, it makes things about Japanese trees.
Yes,
blossoming.
And this double square is quite a Japanese format. It's a tatami format, 1:2. And the Oban engraving, this triptych of Japanese prints, they are vertical, but when you put them in their three parts together, this makes the same proportion of 1:2. So there's an idea that explains this format of Japanese reference.
And before we didn't know that it was his last painting?
We know it since the mid-10s. It's been 10 years, 12 years that we know this. It's not totally new, but it's quite little known, actually. Most people think it's Whitfield with crows. That is his last painting,
because when you see
it's so tragic, it's so dramatic.
Exactly.
So it fits to the idea that you paint this and you go and kill yourself.
But
it's not actually the case.
Do you think there's any sign in his last painting about death?
There's a sign of life in his last painting. That's what I find interesting. The Tree Roots is a question of really of getting life from the ground and being connected with the ground and the life that surges from the ground as weeds. But in the other way, you can interpret it as burying yourself. You know, the
Yes.
roots go in the
Ground.
soil, in the ground. So it's ambivalent.
And but you didn't put it at the end of the show.
No, because it's not the end of the story, and in a way that I think it's all his oeuvre in Van Gogh, which makes a final chapter, and you have to consider it as a chapter, as a group, and especially the double square, for which I think he had an idea of making an exhibition for himself, as he says, in a cafe. It's one of the explanations, because he didn't say exactly what they were made for. It's one of the explanations. And the idea was to connect all those double squares so that you feel the connection, because every painting he made was connected to another in his...
And so is it stupid to think, is it too caricatural to look at Van Gogh as an artist maudit?
No, it's not maudit at all. I think it belongs to a myth.
Because he's
totally.
supported by his brother.
Yes, and when he dies, every major painter writes to Theo to say how much they regret the loss of a great painter. Monet, Toulouse-Lautrec, Gauguin, Bernard. We have all those letters at the end of the exhibition.
Okay.
So it's very well known. He has some art critics from the Revue Blanche. He has begun to sell, to exhibit.
And so
He's rising,
how
his
can
fame
we
is rising.
qualify?
Sorry?
He's just an exceptional artist.
Exactly, exactly. But in no way maudit.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci à vous.